I mean, the emotions that were going on it was fear, right? Just like I don't know how to do this. I've never done anything like it. I don't know anyone who has. Looking back, working as a nurse back then, and I found real estate, and I was like, okay, this is a direction I want to go into. And looking at all the different paths in real estate, what really called to me, and I said, mobile home parks. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a investment vehicle.
Greetings, well builders. Welcome to Get Diversified, your go-to podcast for all things real estate investments.
I'm Jacqueline.
Melvin Landry. We're thrilled to embark on this wealth-building journey with you.
Imagine this. What if your investments not only secure your future, but also unlock a life of financial freedom? That's what we're diving into on this show. Apartment buildings, storage facilities, mobile home parks, the whole shebang.
But here's the kicker. It's not just about investing. It's about crafting a legacy, building memories with your loved ones, and seizing every moment. Time is the currency of life. And let's be real, none of us wants to waste.
We've got the insights, experience, and dash of excitement to spice up your investing game. Plus, we'll throw in some real-life stories that'll make you see the potential in every brick and mortar.
Subscribe, buckle up, and get ready to turn your investments into the ticket to financial freedom. Together, we're not just building wealth, we're building the community of savvy investors. Let's get diversified.
Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. My name's Jacqueline Landry, and I want to welcome you to Get Diversified. I'm going to be your host today, and I have a friend, a business partner, and an investor. Tim Woodbridge is with me, and I am going to try to give him the best introduction as possible before I let him start. So let's just go ahead and get going here. So Tim is the founder and acquisitions lead at UCG Investments, where he has built a portfolio of nearly 300 lots across 9 mobile home parks. His experience lies in cash flow strategies, value add improvements, and returning investor capital through refinance models. Beyond business, Tim's story is one on resilience. And I'm going to let him talk a little bit about that throughout this podcast. So Tim, welcome to the show.
Jackie, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's so funny listening to older things that we must have sent to people. So currently we are at 30 parks and a little over 1,400 lots. So it
So
really
this is
makes me
not
take,
updated. Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's on us. That's on us for sure. But it makes me, take a step back and be like, man, how amazing is this? How blessed am I to be living the life I get to live today?
That's fantastic. So Tim, what did I miss in the introduction besides getting the number of lots and across how many states wrong?
That's it. That's it, really.
Tell us a little bit about Tim.
Yeah. I'm a Californian living in South Carolina. I'm a retired nurse. Yeah. Someone who has gone through some adversity in life, but I think if I take a step back and look at it, it's just life is hard sometimes. And I am long-term recovery. I also have, MS and yeah, I mean life is hard, but I very much believe it's what you make of it.
Absolutely.
Everyone has hardship and what are you doing with it? So I'm today very, very blessed to be able to say, okay, like, yeah, I've had some rough go of it here and there, but yeah, I am living the dream life that I always wanted to live. So it's just an amazing, amazing thing to do. And I get to work with amazing people, Matthias and yourself and everything. And yeah, we're just building something bigger than ourselves, really trying to combat the affordable housing crisis and the people being homeless and lacking of that home stability and stuff like that. So long story short, we're in the mobile home park game. We focus on affordable housing, and God knows there's enough a need for it today. So I'm very lucky and to be able to work on this for society and for others while also making a lot of money myself. It's a nice win.
Yeah, and that's something we share. And we share the same sentiment in, right? So we deal with we have a lot of tenants there on Section 8, so affordable housing is something that we talk about all the time. And our mission statement, just to kind of tie it into mobile home park, is really an extension of ours. We would like to provide A-class experiences to those living in C-class areas. We treat everybody with respect, with professionalism. A person is a person, regardless if they live in a mobile home park or if they live in a little bit of a rougher area in the community. So I love that we share that together and super excited about this conversation. So take me back to your first mobile home park purchase. Talk to me about the emotions and stuff that were going on and what were some of the things that you learned from it?
Yeah, I mean, the emotions that were going on was fear, right? Just like I don't know how to do this. I've never done anything like it. I don't know anyone who has. Looking back, so I was a nurse, working as a nurse back then, and I found real estate, and I was like, okay, this is a direction I want to go into. And looking at all the different paths in real estate, which what really called to me. And I heard Brandon Turner talking to Frank Rolfe on the Bigger Pockets podcast. I said, mobile home parks. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a investment vehicle. And from there, I found one on mobilehomeparkstore.com and it was listed by an owner. I reached out, had a conversation. Long story short, we closed it. I closed it 50-50 with a partner. And I mean, there's a lot of little steps in between and a lot of uncertainty, but I knew that closing it, like if I did it and I did it successfully, I would be in the direction that I want to go towards. So I didn't know everything that was going to happen. I just went in on faith of, okay, if I do this, I know that I will be better if I don't do it.
If you don't do
And
it?
that's kind of how I do things.
Yeah.
It's of course more sophisticated now, and I'm surrounded by great partners who, help to make things more sophisticated in terms of numbers and stuff like that. But at the heart of it, it's okay, if we do this, are we going to be more in the direction of where we want to go?
Yeah, I love that. So you were scared, but you took a leap of faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot
And
of
I'm still
people
scared. Don't like it,
still
that's
scared.
part of it, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
scared and nervous and now we have investors and like, oh my gosh, are we treating them well? Are we putting their money first? And it doesn't go away. But
doesn't go
also
away.
it didn't go away in nursing. It was always there, but that fear makes it so I'm making good decisions and I'm being mindful about things. I'm not just like, sure, I'll go and do something, but it's always with like, okay, here's a direction that we want to go. And I'm, confident if and when anything goes sideways, this is how we figure it out because that's what we do.
Sure. So a lot of sweat equity is what I'm hearing as well, right? In
Yeah.
learning the
Yeah.
business.
The first one I did everything, most everything. And I mean, you learn, how the ins and outs of something. How do I run this effectively? And I'm not doing everything today, but I can help kind of guide people into best practices that I've learned firsthand.
Yeah, I love that. And I think doing almost everything when you start real estate helps you a lot in the future. It's very painful in the beginning, but you know what you want, you know what you don't want, and then that helps you in building your team. So talk to me a little bit about how you went from just you and one partner buying your first mobile home park to building a team and what you actually went to what you were seeking in that team that maybe you didn't have as a characteristic.
Yeah, a good question. So I always knew that I wanted like a team of people. I knew like, okay, I'm decent at a lot of things. I'm great at maybe one or two things. I'd hear stories of Henry Ford was in like a Senate hearing or something like that. Here's the story, right? I might be getting it wrong, but he's in a Senate hearing and they say, how can you be doing this if you don't know everything in every part of the production? And he said, I don't need to know everything. I If I need to know something, I hit this button and this person comes out and explains it. So
Yeah.
always being not wanting to be the smartest person. Like I'm very collaborative. So I always wanted to work with others. And so yeah, I had my first partner, and then on the second deal, there was a few other partners and just people you meet along the way, friends, other people who have experience, and the same with the third deal and just different partners. And everyone has been great to work with, but I didn't really click with someone in the same way as when I partnered with Matthias.
Mm.
And so the difference there, and like I'm meeting people in different masterminds and things like that. And I met him, and like nothing happened. But eventually he came back to me and he said, "Hey, like I know you're really into mobile home parks. I live up in Spartanburg, South Carolina, or outside of Spartanburg. I think this deal's really great. And here's the spreadsheet, the analyzer that says why I think it's really great." And I can analyze, I can put numbers in. I'm not great at it. I'm not great at details. It's just not my strong suit. So I was like high level, I think this is maybe worth 3.2 million. They wanted 4.5 million. And I'm like, man, I don't see it, but I had been pursuing it. And Matthias said, "Hey, I think this is a great deal. Here's the analyzer. Here's why it works." And I said, "Perfect. Okay, good. Let me talk with the broker and see kind of where the expectations of pricing are at the moment."
Mhm.
And so I called him and he's like, "Yeah, we could probably get it done for 3.85." And again, I didn't see it. I said in my head, "There's no way. There's no way." And Matthias said, "Here's why that's so good. And here's why everyone's going to be making money. And here's, all the little places where we can go in and raise the value." And so, yeah, I said, "That's great. Let's do it." And it was the first deal that ever raised capital on, and the deal that you're in with us and everything. And we closed it, and man, it's so great. There's really having him on board to look at all the things. Where can we increase revenue and decrease expenses? He was the COO of his company that he used to work for. And so like that's just his strong suit. Operations are his strong suit. From there, I was like, okay, we work well together. Let's do another. And so we did another, and we brought on Vinny and Marianne Carius, our other partners. And yeah, same thing. It's like, okay, well, we work well together. How about another one? And then another one. And we kept doing deals together. And finally, we said, why don't we make a core company out of this? Because
Mm.
we know each other. We're all pretty similar in terms of values. A lot of last year was figuring out like the branding, like what does WCG mean? What are our core values? And just being like, okay, what's our cohesive message and stuff like that. So I know I'm kind of rambling about it now, but really looking back at it, it was more like one thing after another,
Mhm.
one little thing. It wasn't, man, we need to come together and have this everything laid out ahead of time. It was, no, as we go. Then we start laying things out and making it so, yeah, we can continue to work together.
Yeah, I love that. That's how we're actually building a team too. So we got our first employee, and really even between, my husband and I, we found our roles not because they were etched in stone saying you do this, I do that. It's because they evolved into what they are today. So it seems a little bit like that. And obviously the values and the mission are super critical, especially as we bring on other people on the team. So talk to me about what is your mission and vision statement for WCG?
Yeah, so our mission is really to combat homelessness and be part of the movement that is getting to a place of no homelessness by 2050. So obviously, there's going to be people who want to be unhoused, and that's fine. We're not. It's more like the people who would prefer to have housing, affordable housing, make it so there's no American without that. It doesn't make sense for me to be in this country and have people who are unhoused or whatever you want to call it. It's a disservice to the country, I think. It's not just a disservice to the people because as a nurse, I remember seeing people come into the emergency department who were living on the streets, and it's like it just affects the person and then that affects the society. It's not like this person's paying so much. It's on everyone's tax bill to pay for that person who can't afford it. And it's just I don't know. I'm on a soapbox right now for sure, but like that's what we want to do. Like, how can we ensure we're living in a world where everyone has the affordable?
Yeah. Where do you think so this is a question that I often have, especially with Section 8 vouchers and the presidency and his views on providing housing assistance, and there's a bigger gap between poverty and rich and wealthy. Where do you see affordable housing, mobile home parks, Section 8 vouchers, like all of that together? Where do you see that? Do you see that growing in the future? Do you see that scaling back? What are your thoughts on that? Because I say that sometimes that keeps me up at night, not knowing if the government is going to fund that, or if even mobile home parks are going to be affordable in the future.
Well, that's interesting. That's a good question. I'd say it has to be. It has to be there, and if it's not, then something else has to happen. Meaning, if, tomorrow the government said, "Well, we're not doing any more Section 8," then first of all, it would cause a lot of chaos, and that's sure, it's unfortunate, but would be how it would be. But I am a believer in the resilience of people. So it would be like, okay, well, this isn't paying anymore. How can it pay? How can we make this work? And I think it would be a big kind of work together thing. So, us as owners and our tenants, and like, how do we do this so we're not having mass evictions or mass people moving out? How do we make this work? I don't know right now, but I know that we would figure it out.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would just say that, yeah, that I think it would be major chaos. But yeah, that's one of the things that are always on my mind. But I can't see it being totally eliminated. There needs to be some kind of support, especially as we're losing those low level jobs, right?
Yeah.
That are being replaced by AI, right? So unless those people get a different trade, it's going to be difficult for them to obtain employment. More difficult, more and more difficult every day. And then even not even the lower level laborers, but analysts, attorneys, right? I said, "Oh, we're going to be hiring, some additional people. I need a EEO and anti-discriminatory policy." Boom, boom, boom. Perplexity. Tell me what it needs to be, 2 seconds. I didn't need to pay anybody. I didn't need to pay anything. And so it's like, wow, how powerful is that? So it's not even just the low level laborers. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
The same, same. And at the end of the day, I am bullish on humanity. I know that we'll figure stuff out. I'm sure there will be chaos. There always is. It's just how things are.
I
I see reality for what it is, but at the end of the day, I know that we will figure it out.
Yep. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the strategy for the deal that we're in, right? So the strategy is to decrease expenses by converting more homes to tenant owned homes for a few different reasons, right? So that they can, for the first time in their life, in some instances, be a homeowner, right? The
Mhm.
American dream, right? Own their own home, take care of their own expensive, have some dignity, have a little bit more dignity, and living the American dream. Is that always your approach when you buy a mobile home park, is to convert these from park-owned homes to tenant-owned homes, or do you have different strategies depending on the mobile home park?
Yeah, different strategies depending on the area. I mean,
Okay.
we'll always try to convert park-owned homes to rent-to-own, lease with an option, whatever strategy. But it doesn't work all the time. We try, and I mean, in Spartanburg, it's we've done a lot of them, but we haven't done all of them, and
Yeah.
that's the reality too. Like, you hear people, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I want a mobile home park, all tenant-owned, all city utilities, blah, blah, blah." It's like, "Okay, you can, but you're gonna be paying a lot for that." There's always pluses and minuses to everything. So, yeah, it's not like a foolproof thing. And if anyone says, go operate a mobile home park and it's passive, I call BS because it's anything but passive. Maybe it's more passive than some things, but we've got a full team that's running everything. So, but yeah, it's good because it does. I think our approach is very meet the deal, meet the tenants where they're at, and listen to them and see what do they want to do. So we don't force anyone to do anything. It's like you tell us what makes sense. You want to keep renting, it's probably going to be this. You want to rent to own, it's going to be this. Like let's make something that makes sense for everyone involved. Because if not, then it's a losing proposition for everyone.
So, where does WCG want to be in the next, we'll say near term, 2 years from now? How many mobile homes or mobile home parks, if you put it indoors, or mobile homes, do you guys want to own? And where do you see this kind of after you get to that point? What are some thoughts on your exit and why you may want to do an exit?
Yeah. So, like, high level, we want to get to 250 million AUM, assets under management, by 2030. So maybe that's a couple more years out. And that is, if I remember right, providing housing to roughly 10,000 people. My math might be wrong right now, but so yeah, roughly, and the the big why, besides, the altruism, is the because it's fun, because building a business is fun. Like, the more we do, the more money that the total is spitting out, and the more we're able to bring on other amazing people. And so, like, to me, that's exciting. But it goes back to the Henry Ford thing. Like, okay, the better we're doing, we can bring in this person who's really great at this one thing. So then I don't have to haphazardly do it, or like we can all stay and do what we're best at. And that's just what's exciting to me. So yeah, the 250 million number, it's made up, but it's more the direction that we wanna go in. We love the asset class, we love getting bigger, we love being able to do things, we love, being able to put $100,000 into an older community and pave roads and create such a meaningful difference. We love giving our investors monthly payments because, oh, we're moving to monthly now. We love giving the same investors these big negative K1s, so they save a ton on taxes, and it's just so cool. It's so exciting to me.
Yes, yes. We love that too. So, this is for those of you watching. If you're a passive investor in a lot of these syndications, either large multifamily or mobile home parks, a lot of them are not cash flowing due to the way that they bought, or their debt structure, or their business plan just not coming to fruition. And I need to say, with Tim and his team, the ones boots on the ground, they are doing a fantastic job. And I wish we could have put even more money into the deal, but hey, we put in what we could the time, but that's it's not typical. And it just means that, folks, when you're investing in a syndication that may be a mobile home park, you really need to know and trust your operations team, understand what their strengths are. Somebody, like with Tim saying, hey, this isn't my strong point, this is Matthias's strong point. Matthias doesn't have this strong point, I have it, and I'm bringing this one on because we
Yeah.
have this hole, right? So being, humble in the fact of saying that I'm not the master of all and that I know everything that I'm doing, but really finding those people that can make you as a team just stronger is the way to go. So, guys, keep that in mind when you're investing in a syndication. And then the cash flow piece, a lot of these syndicators talk about cash flow. And the reality is that sometimes the cash flow is so minuscule. And I always use this as an analogy, but it doesn't even cover my Costco bill once a month, right? So I use that because a lot of people have this crazy misconception that, hey, I can go invest $100,000 in a syndication and I could quit my W-2,
Mm, mm. I
right?
wish.
Or I can count on whatever the projected, distributions are every month or every quarter. And the reality is that's not a given. Cash flow, or, cash distributions are not a given. And even if they are, I am in another syndication where we got distributions every month. And I started looking at the financials, and we're six figures in the negative.
Man.
So why would you be giving, cash distributions? So anyways, but again, kind of just some things that you learn, right? You learn from passively investing in other people's deals, succeeding sometimes and failing sometimes. But that's how you learn. That's how I will be a better passive investor when I go into my next deal, because I'm going to ask better questions. I'm going to look at better financials, and as we're going through the process, I'm going to be able to ask those more strategic questions than, hey, what does cash on cash mean? Or hey, what does
Yeah.
equity multiple mean? Right. Because in the beginning, I didn't know what the heck any of that stuff meant. Right. So now my questions have evolved to more meaningful questions because I've lost a lot of money in the syndication, as a passive investor. So, hey, Tim, what do you see as your exit strategy? Are you going to, keep all these mobile home parks and, do refinances, maybe sell them to a big institution, what, or a combination of them?
Yeah. First off, I wanna comment on the paying investors out, especially if the whole projects in the negative like that. Man, I'm stressed just thinking about that. And like we love mobile home parks because of how boring and consistent they are. And not every deal goes well. We've had deals that aren't performing where we'd like them to. With one deal we did, it's not where we would like it to be. And so, we're still paying the investor pref, but we turned off our payments to ourselves because we
Nice.
we can. That's we're very, very big into treating investors well and putting them first. But really, if we ever got to a place where the deal was negative, we would turn off investor payments because it doesn't make sense. It's all about what is best for the whole. Because if I'm paying investors every month and the deal's going more and more negative, then that's like, man, there's real risk there, and I don't like it, and yeah. I just
Yeah.
wanted to comment on how crazy that is.
Well, mission and values, and even really not even mission and values, because maybe it's a values play there, but I don't think it is because I think the team is a good team, but maybe they don't have the right team. What about that
Yeah,
accountant who's doing their work?
yeah,
I would
yeah,
raise the flag and say, "Excuse me, guys, you shouldn't be doing this for XYZ reasons." Or I would be in
yeah,
touch with the distribution mechanism, cash flow portal, or, syndication pro, or whatever you're using, to say, "Hey, I know we're going to do this, but this is where we stand." And I would really push back as these, if I was the CPA on that, right? To just talk
yeah.
about the risk of, paying distributions in the financial situation that you're in, or
I
not, or
think
not having that comfort, that little bit of a comfort zone, right? So I think it's just, again, I think it's more related to that, and the deal is still hanging on by a thread, but now we're kind of talking about how to get out of, a little bit of a slump that we're in.
yeah, I think a weird thing in this society is how everyone is afraid of failure and
Yes.
afraid of it so much that they'll do everything to not do it. And I'd
Pull the
say,
sheet over your
for
head.
us, if we were ever in that situation, we it would be hard, but we're honest and we'd be like, look, we can't make these payments and this is the reason. This is what we're doing to make it better, but currently this is what's happening. And I think it's hard for a lot of people to just say, hey, this isn't going the way we projected. And it's unfortunate, but it's just how some people are, not that they're doing it in a mean way or in a way that's intended to hurt people. They're just afraid to be honest about things not going the way they'd like it to.
Exactly. Exactly. So anyways, so wait, you owe me an answer on the exit.
Yeah, that's right.
Just in case we're gonna
Um,
get paid, Tim.
so all of our deals, we project an exit on year 5 or year 7, depending on the deal, because again, we're meeting deals where they're at. And so, yeah, the caveat is also always, if we love this deal and we want to hold another 5 years, we've already returned all capital, and we want to just continue to cash flow. And we think that this is going to be worth dramatically more in the future, and we can project it out, and everyone's on board, then we'll hold it another 5 to 7 years. Really big picture. I, I mean, in the back of my head, there's always, okay, I see a lot of big private equity firms coming into the space. I see potential there. We are definitely buying things in clusters. So it's more attractive for big players to come in and give us a big figure for it. But it's not like this is the end all be all of what we want to do. If a big player said, hey, I'll come in and we'll put in this much for the portfolio and keep you guys in. Like, okay, what does that look like? What does that look like for us, for our investors, for the tenants? Like, what does this whole thing look like? And let's make the best decision based on everyone winning.
Yeah. Including the tenants, right? Because I've heard a lot when, private equities companies come in, right?
Exactly.
Operations go to hell, prices go up, and then now,
Rent goes up.
right,
Yeah.
rent goes up, and then affordable housing becomes no more.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I'm not saying that in proper English, but then they start to just, defeat the whole mission of WCG, and with us, right, with affordable housing is it becomes unaffordable.
Yeah. And there's a intern in the PE company who's on spreadsheets and like, if we jack rents $300 a month, the value is going to be here and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but you're not looking at the reality of what's happening. Like, sure, if you're under market $300, like go up gradually. It's still affordable. You can't go up, all at once. So yeah, I mean, in the future, if we're approached by a company and they want to give us a crazy amount of money, it's definitely going to be in our minds. What's their history? How have they done things in the past? Do they have a bad history behind them? Because I don't care how much money we're going to get. It doesn't make sense to do that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's do good. Let's make a lot of money and let's make sure that everyone is winning. It honestly, we don't want to be that company that sold for a crazy amount of money and it just lost the souls of the mobile home parks.
Yep, yep. Amen to that. So, Tim, if our listeners and viewers want to talk to you a little bit more about mobile home parks or about what we talked about here in the show today, how can they find you?
Go to wcginvestments.com, schedule a call. You can talk to me or Vinny or Matthias.
Awesome, awesome. Well, fantastic. Well, Tim, hey, it was great catching up, and I'm looking forward to continually seeing your success. And thank you for allowing me to be a partner on one of those deals that you have in your portfolio.
Thank you so much. When we love having you on.
Awesome. All right. Until next time, Tim. Peace, everyone.
Thank you.
Jacqueline and Melvin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of Get Diversified. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes. Finally, stop by our website and follow us on social media. Ciao for now. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time. And remember, get diversified.